Hi, it's Paul Maunder from Production Expert. Acon Digital have just released Extract Dialogue 2. This major update to the popular dialogue noise reduction plugin features a completely revised interface and a number of superb new features which make the reduction of both noise and reverb very easy. Here's some noisy dialogue.
I like to think we get to a point where we're relying solely on our skill. And
the plugin provides faders for voice, reverb and noise. There's also a solo and mute button for each, and several other important features which I'll get to shortly. I'll play this again.
I like to think we get to...
There's the noise on its own.
We're relying solely on our skill and
the voice,
relying on a certainty.
And of course, we can reduce the noise with this fader.
There is going to be no other variable other than success.
Here it is, now that I've made those adjustments.
I like to think we get to a point where we're relying solely on our skill.
A good result already, but if you need to, you can refine the sensitivity of the voice, reverb and noise independently. This can be done either by dragging the entire line up or down, or in specific frequency areas using these controls. For example, engaging this peak dip curve, I can increase or decrease the sensitivity at my chosen frequency. Also, we have high and low shelves for the sensitivity, and you can activate these if you need them. These can be enabled either by clicking the button, as I've just done, or by double clicking in the frequency area, like this. Most of the time, the default sensitivity does an excellent job, but you can tweak it when you feel you need to. I'll just deactivate these for now. Something which is really powerful and also unique about Extract Dialogue 2 is that each of these three elements, voice, reverb and noise, also has its own EQ. You can view and adjust this by clicking the EQ button for the selected stem, in this case noise, but both the reverb and voice also have their own independent EQs. These operate only on the respective stem. So, for example, this voice is slightly thin sounding.
I like to think we get to a point.
So maybe I'd like to boost some of the bottom end in this, and probably the low mids too.
I like to think we get to a point where we're relying solely on our skill and relying on a certainty that we are going to make it. And
I've only EQ'd the dialogue there, having already removed the noise, but to really hear the benefit of this, we need to look at another example. So I'll reset this, and let's hear the next piece of noisy dialogue.
The drone would be a very good solution because if you think about transporting...
This particular piece of audio was recorded out in the Gambia, where there's an obvious sound of cicadas which is quite prominent in the recording. Let's say I want to keep that to some degree, but maybe reduce it in its most prominent frequency range, more so than elsewhere.
The drone would be a very good solution because if you think about transporting drugs, vaccine, or other things for healthcare, they're all transported by roads.
The capability to actually apply EQ to individual components, like the noise, is very powerful. I did make the decision there to also pull the noise down generally by just a few dB, but maybe now we also want to EQ the voice.
The drone would be a very good solution because if you think about transporting drugs, vaccine,
or maybe like this,
other things for healthcare, they're all transported by roads.
Excellent, I'm very pleased with that. Now let's hear a before and after. So I'll start with this in bypass and then unbypass it partway through.
The drone would be a very good solution because if you think about transporting drugs, vaccine, or other things for healthcare, they're all transported by roads.
Moving on now to another example. I'll just reset this. Here's the next one.
I always wanted to do design or architecture.
I'll play this again and solo the noise.
I always wanted architecture.
And let's reduce the noise.
Didn't think I was intelligent enough to do it though, so didn't pursue it properly.
We can listen to what we're actually removing.
Or architecture.
There's some reverb here too.
Didn't think I was intelligent enough to do it though, so didn't pursue it properly. I always wanted to do design or architecture.
The impressive thing about this is that it's all running in real time. I've been adjusting the settings manually, but there are some included presets. For example, this one, strong noise and reverb reduction. Another one is noise reduction and presence boost. This one has a shelving filter boost on the voice, which starts in the high mids, and there are other presets to help get you started. Once again though, I'll reset it and start another example playing, and I'm going to adjust it as I go.
Accenture is a global professional services company and provides strategy, consulting, technology and operations services. James Hallam is MD of the Fuels Retail Practice, covering Europe, Africa and Latin America.
Let's play this one more time.
Accenture is a global professional services company and provides strategy, consulting, technology and operations services.
It's such a useful feature to be able to EQ the voice independently to the noise and reverb. And if I wanted to EQ the noise, maybe reducing the top end without affecting the voice, I could do that.
Accenture is a global professional services company and provides strategy, consulting.
We'll listen to one more example shortly, but one thing I haven't mentioned yet is that the plugin is resizable. If you drag at the bottom right and collapse it down, once it reaches a certain size, it will just be the 3 faders. And if you drag it out like this, it can be expanded as needed. Let's take a listen to this clip, and I'll just make adjustments as it plays and let you listen.
How they got started, what they needed to get started. And if you couldn't get started with a certain technique, that means your art needed a lot of work. So he was thinking what Bruce was already thinking, at the time. Then he went to Monticello, and from there, that's where he got word about a few years later that how they got started, what they needed to get started. And if you couldn't get started with a certain technique, that means your art needed a lot of work.
One final thing I'd like to demonstrate is the multi-out feature. Let's go back to the other instance on the first track. And if I make, for example, 3 mono auxes and then name them voice, reverb, and noise, and then go to the inputs, and we have interface and bus, but also plugin. Here you'll see all the instances in your session. I actually have a couple of inactive tracks which are at the top of the list, but the first active one is the one I'm interested in. So I'll set these as cascading inputs by holding down Option, Command and Shift. And now we have the voice, reverb and noise stems feeding each of these tracks. And if I mute the original and play it, each is coming through its own aux.
I like to think we get to a point where we're relying solely on our skill and relying on a certainty that we are going to make it, and there is going to be no other variable other than success.
And of course, you can apply your own processing to each of these using the track inserts. So that's Extract Dialogue 2 from Acon Digital. It's a significant upgrade with several great features. Check it out at acondigital.com. Thanks for watching.